This is Off the Record, where I help you discover new artists and new music. I don't even know how to introduce this very special guest. We have Chris Lanzon here, indie pop folk artist, just had one of the most biggest debuts of the year with his album You're Missing the Best Part, hitting number 8 on the Australian charts. That's incredible right there. How you doing, Chris?
Thank you. I'm doing very good. I'm so excited that this album is finally out in the world and just trying to soak it all in, just enjoy it. Yeah.
I'm really excited to chat with you, and I always like to start with this. I want to know who your musical inspirations were growing up, and not so much like the artists you were discovering, but who in your life, who in your family was like playing music for you, and what do you remember them playing?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind, I remember my mum always kind of like getting the latest CDs that were out, but like in a
Ooh.
really cool way. She had a really cool taste. I remember her showing me Forever Ago by Bon Iver when I was
Uh,
like 7 years old. And I was like, what is this? That was a big, like, eye-opening or
yeah.
ear opening, I guess. One. Another artist that she introduced me to was Angus and Julia Stone, who are a duo from Australia. And I think they are honestly like one of the most underrated artists in the world. Like maybe it's because I have the nostalgia of kind of growing up
Yeah.
with their music, but like they have so many brilliant songs. So those are two that I feel like subconsciously really influenced me because I was so
Yeah.
young listening to them. And then the third one I can think of is probably Ed Sheeran. I feel like my mum also put me onto Ed Sheeran like when I was super young, and that became like he was probably like the pathway to like, oh, dude with a guitar, how do I do that? And like kind of trying to figure that out. So I owe a lot to him as well in that way.
It sounds like she had like a really nice palette and a pretty cool collection. Did she like display it at all a certain way?
No, I don't think so. I think she just had like a little CD rack in her like study that I would like kind of sneak in and just like look at every once in a while. Or she'd go to the library a lot because she loves to read, and I feel like I would follow her and like just pick up random CDs from the library as well. Um, that was yeah, I have a lot of memories of that as a
That's so
kid.
cool. So let's talk a little bit about the album. You're Missing the Best Part. Is there like a particular song or lyric you come back to? I was watching your live stream the other day, and you kind of talked about this a little bit. And I was like, when I chat with him, I really want to kind of dive into this a little bit.
Yeah, there's a few like there's a lot on this album that I am really like proud of lyrically. I think one that comes to mind, there's a lyric in Spiral, which was the first song we wrote for the album. And kind of like opened this path of like what You're Missing the Best Part is all about.
Yeah.
And there's a lyric that's You're missing the flowers in the gutter that I really love. It kind of just says what the title says. Um, but like this idea of just like missing the beautiful things in and amongst all the chaos and kind of things we take for granted, or just like the ugliness of the world, it can be easy to overlook the beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The album does like a really good job of touching moments in reality from a different perspective. Was that kind of like the tone you wanted it to hit? Because like in Spiral, and we were talking beforehand, Carrots, like there's these little vignettes that come across.
Yeah.
Was that kind of like the goal for you?
Honestly, the goal was just to be like super truthful and like really specific and really detailed with like my experiences, which I feel like in the past I've like kind of like maybe glossed over that a little bit. Like I'll have like a feeling that I want to express, but I'm trying to like blur it or like protect my own vulnerability within it by like
Yeah.
not being super specific. But I think this album I wanted to like I was like, okay, if I'm gonna make a debut album, like what do I have to offer here that no one else could do? It's like that's gonna be
Yeah.
like my truth. So I really like it was a scary thing to do, but I was like, if this is scaring me, that's probably a good thing. Like just try and do that. So I think that's where a lot of those like vignettes come from, because I was just trying to like really be really specific and really descriptive with a lot of the
Mm.
emotions I was trying to convey. So I'm glad that felt that way for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I'm really curious what your writing process was like for this one. How long did it take you? And for you, like what kind of came first in that process?
Yeah, there were a few different sort of like periods of writing for it. like I said, Spiral was the first song that I wrote, I think, for the record, and that was with my friend Jerome Blase, who ended up co-producing the whole album with me.
That's awesome.
That's like the oldest one I think on the album, because we did that at like the start of 2023. We just went away on a little trip together because we've been friends for a long time, but we never made music together. And we were like, let's just go and write for a couple days. Like we both needed a little bit of a get out of the city kind of trip, and we went and we just had so much fun. And the original demo of Spiral is just like us like goofing around, being complete idiots in the studio, like hitting things on the walls and as like percussion and like shouting into the microphones. And we just like, it was a real, I don't think I'd had that much fun with music before. I think I was like so serious about music all the time that really opened a new door. And like, it was funny because then I worked on a bunch of other music and made a whole other EP. But that idea, like, and that essence, when it came time to do the album, I was like really coming back to what that was. And that's when I got him in and we kind of did a lot of the album together. But other than that, there was a writing trip with my friends Ollie Beard and Demi Louise. Demi is someone who I love very much. She's like written a lot of my favorite songs with me. I think she like knows me really well and just helps. Like, I find co-writing is really interesting because I'm like, I can only do it with people I'm really close with.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I feel like we don't get into the deep stuff. Like it'll just be very surface level. So I'm either like writing on my own or with people that are essentially like an extension of myself because they know me so well. So we went away, me, Ollie and Demi, for a couple days just after I finished my tour last year. And that was like we wrote Rise and Fall and Each Time Around on that trip, which I think are like two like probably really important songs on the album. So yeah, there was that, and I could talk forever about all the other ones, but like generally it was like a couple of trips away, I think, is what really inspired a lot of these songs. And then there were a couple that I just wrote at home as well. But I was trying to like get out of my own space and like my own kind of restrictions, I think, that I put on myself sometimes. And I think working with people that I really trust helped me like open up a lot more. In terms of like being super vulnerable and super honest in the writing. So that was, a big part of it.
Is there a lyric or line from those sessions that didn't make it into the album that you ponder on often?
There is a song that didn't make it into the album.
Really?
I don't know if that counts. We wrote one on that same trip called Origami, which is like, a completely different tone from the rest of the record, I think. But it was a really fun song. It might see the light of day sometime. I was gonna say
maybe we'll get a deluxe.
Maybe we will. I don't know. I think that would be really fun to do. So we'll see what happens.
Let's talk a little bit about the instrumentalization of the album, because it's something when I was listening to it, I kept rewinding and coming back to. I feel like the best way to describe it is the word rusty.
Rusty. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
like it's a bit rusty. It's a bit like an organic, but not in a natural way, if that makes sense. What was it like putting that world together for this album?
I love that description. That was a big thing. I wanted this album to just feel very human. I think like that's like the core of what I'm like writing about. And I think in a world with like AI and like constant like noise on social media and just all of this like artificial and like intense stuff that we're like kind of bombarded with every day, I was like, I want to make something that is the opposite of that, and it's just really open and really fun and really real. And rusty is a great word. It's like not polished. I didn't want it to be like shiny, you know. I wanted it to just be like this kind of like comforting, warm thing that you could like sit in, and it's like it feels like you're sitting in a room with all your friends and just like playing music together or listening to music together. And that's what we did. Like that's why it sounds that way, is because I just got my friends to come and like play the songs with me, and we recorded so much of it live. And I'd never really done that before with my music. And we like off the back of my tour last year for my last EP, we played a lot of the music. Well, we played all the music completely live. Like I didn't use any backing tracks or click tracks or like I wanted it. I was like really in this headspace of like, if I'm going to play the songs live, I want them to feel like their own unique sort of experience. And then that felt so good that I was like, let's just do that for the album. So I'm glad that that feeling like really comes through.
It does.
Yeah.
Did you guys get any live tapes, like recordings of you guys playing them live?
Yeah, we did. I like honestly opted out of doing like any music videos for any of the songs. We just did like a whole live film, which came out with the album. It's like just the singles, but we like basically just got me and all my friends in a hall and just played all the songs. So yeah, we did some tapings, but honestly, like what you hear on the record is largely live as well.
And that's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. It was just a lot of fun to do it that way, and honestly made it like I'm such a perfectionist and such an overthinker that it helped to like not have that option. It was kind of like, oh, you get what you get, and then you have to accept it and move on, which was really nice, honestly.
I feel like you kind of touched on this already throughout the interview, but like to put it wrapped up in a nice little bow, what are you hoping audiences like just take away from it?
Yeah, I hope that people get what I got out of it, which was just like trying to remind myself what's important and what actually matters and what it means to be a human being in 2025. Like what do we have left that like AI can't do? I think that's like just being with each other and like sharing these like special moments together. Like there's a song on the album called Dinner Party that I think like kind of sums up all of that really well. That was just like when you're feeling down and feeling like really alone, like you've always got your friends that you can lean on. You can just invite them over for a simple meal. That's all life needs to be. Like it kind of like reminds you that like everything's gonna be okay. I don't know. It's a bit like existential in a way, but I just think that I hope it can remind people of that feeling, because I think I needed that reminder. So yeah, that's what I hope this album can be in a way.
I love it. All right, well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists you think we should listen to, and feel free to elaborate a little bit on why you picked them.
Okay. I have chosen 3 of my best friends who helped make this album with me, because not just because they're my best friends, but because I think their music is actually incredible and they're a huge part of why this album is the way it is. I could not have done it without them. The first one, pardon me. First one, I Had a Dream That We Had a Baby by Oliver Beard. This song just came out and it is so much fun. It's like, it feels like almost like you can do like an Irish jig to it or something. Every time he plays it live, everyone's just like locking arms and like dancing in a circle. It is the most like feel good song. And I think he's just an incredible writer. The next one is You Can Find Us Out Your Way by Jerome Blase, who co-produced this album with me. Such a cool song. There's just like this really great instrumental and sample in it. And then this like super simple lyric, and it just kind of repeats and gets you in a trance. And he filmed the music video for it on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which I think was really iconic, because I feel like no one has really done that. Well, maybe they have, but when he suggested the idea to me, he was like, is this like kind of lame? And I was like, no, that's awesome. Like definitely do that. So that was really cool. And then another one is I Spy by Sarah Levins. Sarah's voice is featured a lot on this album. I think she has the most incredible voice, and she's an amazing writer as well. And this song, I think, is a great example of all of those things. It's just about like the cyclical nature of life, and like seeing, kind of similar to You're Missing the Best Part, I guess, like seeing like what kind of matters and what doesn't matter, and like not taking things so seriously, and just like noticing everything around you. So yeah, she's like really, really cool. I love her music. Yeah,
that is a stacked lineup right there. I'm telling you, I'm ready for that. I'm ready.
Hell yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for coming and gabbing with me again. Congratulations. This is like only the beginning. This is not even the tip of the iceberg. This is only the beginning for you.
Thank you so much.
And number 8 on the Aussie charts.
Yeah, very surreal.
So here's my favorite track, Carrots, from You're Missing the Best Part. This is Off the Record, where I help you discover new artists and new music. This is a really exciting interview because I'm here with singer-songwriter Jackson White. I remember when I first listened to If This Is It, and it was like a day, like an hour before recording an episode, and I was like, I need to like throw this in. So the fact that like you're here is like just so full circle. How
Thank
you
you
doing?
so much. I'm doing awesome. I'm so happy to be here and get to talk about some of my career and what's going on in the music world. And I'm hyped that you found If This Is It. That's one of my favorite songs that I've done. And it's just a great connection to finally come around full circle and get to talk to you, man.
I remember when I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is like if Troy Bolton like actually went on and did the things.
Yeah.
Like that's what this would sound like. I'm excited to talk to you about your music influences because you grew up in a music household. What was that kind of like? And you're such an old soul. You share artists like Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson. Where did that all come to play and where are those influences all from?
Yeah. So my dad raised me on definitely a lot of like 70s, 80s pop, R&B, and a little bit of everything, but mainly that stuff. So like Michael Jackson, Lionel, anyone from like Kenny Loggins, Michael McDonald, that world. And it's like he just raised me on a great mixture of all of those genres, and it like kind of made like the foundation for what I want to sound like, but also what I listen to. And so I listen to so much of that world, like Michael Jackson, Prince, all that every day listening to them. And so having that like foundation for what I listen to is amazing just because I love that music so much. And then it's been now like inspiring to me now that I'm starting to make more music that kind of has that vibe to it. And can't forget Stevie as well. Stevie Wonder is on my all-time
What's your favorite
top.
Stevie Wonder track?
I'm gonna say he's got the very first track on Songs in the Key of Life, Love's in Need of Love
You
Today.
Love Today. That's a great one.
I love that song, but there's so many. I like For Once in My Life's another one of my favorites, but I could go on for a couple years on his songs.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey as an artist. Again, you grew up in a music household. What was the switch up for you being like, I don't only want to just take in music, I want to be a part of the scene? What was that like for you?
Yeah, so growing up, so my dad is a country music artist and producer, and so growing up seeing what he was working on in the studio and going to some of his shows is what really kind of opened my eyes to see like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I was so into sports in high school, and so like that's what took up kind of the majority of my time. And once I got to more like towards the end of high school, I was very much like, this is really what like I'm finding out what my passion is, and getting to be around my dad, work on stuff, and then kind of bringing in the idea like, hey, I kind of want to start doing my own thing and going on my own path. And my parents had always wanted me to get into music. They just kind of let it take its course instead of like pushing me into anything.
That's
and
awesome.
Once I got to the right age and really started figuring out what I wanted to do, they've been so supportive. And like it all kind of just like came as like a rush to me. I was like, this is so much fun. And once I started finding like the sound that I wanted to have and in my own voice, and having that foundation from a dad that can help me like in terms of just guiding me with what to do. And I'm so thankful. And it's been an amazing journey so far, just figuring out what kind of vibe I want to give off. Cause you can do whatever you want. That's the awesome thing about music. And really figuring out the sound that I want to have and using other artists' inspiration in my music too is just, it's so much fun. Like I literally have so much fun making stuff, writing stuff, and it all blends in together to just literally be like my favorite thing in the world.
What is your process like right now as in the studio?
Yeah, I would say, and if I already have something written, it's like a different lane, but like from straight up like writing something to working in the studio, I love to co-write with people. It's so much fun. Because I think it just brings other sides and other styles to a song that can make something cooler than it is. And I've written stuff by myself that's cool too, but having just some like 2 or 3 other people, it's like you can just bounce ideas off of each other and see what sticks. And
it's like this energy of it, of like,
and it's just like, oh, you come up with something cool, and you're like, oh, hold up, that's awesome. And then you just like you get kind of like a chemistry going in the room. And so if it's that, write a cool song, and then I'll come back maybe like, I don't know, next day, a couple days later, be like, okay, let's get a track going. And so first thing, getting the track laid down, which I usually do with my dad. just because he's a great producer and he likes to help me with some of that. And sometimes I build tracks by myself too as well. And so go down in the studio and lay down like the foundation, chords, drum beat, whatever it is. And then we're just gonna kind of put like a scratch vocal down, just
Okay.
like kind of sing it once or twice through, just to get like something on the foundation. And then I just love like finding random sounds on whatever it is, like Splice, anything, just going through finding cool like 80s kind of sounds and going in there
Yeah.
and be like, okay, this sounds cool, maybe just in this part, and kind of just mismatching cool hooks. The main thing that I love is just like you can never have too many hooks in a song. Like one cool
Yeah.
little thing, even if it's at one part of the song, like having hooks and everything is so important to me. And so making sure I just have tons of cool stuff going on in different spots. And then once I have the track pretty much like built to maybe like 50% of
Okay.
like what it's gonna be, then I go in and do like all the main vocals, harmonies, ad libs, everything. And then we'll comp all the vocals, get them locked in. So then once all the vocals are done, that's like boom. Then we can just kind of go crazy on the track and keep adding stuff, add guitar, more of this, more of that. And so the thing is like I always, even when like a song's done, I'm like, oh, what if I would have added like, so the thing is like to just sometimes just let it be,
Yeah.
because you can get like down the rabbit hole of just like keep adding stuff, and it can sound cool, but then you don't ever want to get to like where you're just doing too much and it takes away from other stuff. So sometimes you just gotta like right before it's done, I'm like, all right, you know what? It sounds cool how it is. If I keep adding stuff, it's just gonna get too crazy. And so then once it gets to like that point of being like 99% done, give it to my mixing engineer and then mastering, and then call it a day.
That's wild. That's
But
wild.
it's such a fun process. Like making the song is like the most fun part. Like it's cool when it comes out, promoting and everything, but like
Yeah.
seeing it go from like a voice memo to just a full blown cool track is so fun. And I'll go back sometimes when I'm driving and I'll like listen to like the very first version of it that I had, and I was like, this isn't even the same song. And
Yeah.
it's such a fun process to look back on as well.
And like you said, it seems like you have a great group around you that is
Yes,
like
yes.
you guys are just like in there pumping them.
Super thankful. Yep. And my dad and I have said we're so close, and so we were able to kind of, we're on the same wavelength with like what to do. And so
Yeah.
we've kind of built that up and made it like a really fun process. And I've been loving everybody that I've been writing with too. It's just when you got the good energy going and good vibes, it's like when you get that chemistry going, it just makes it 100 times more fun.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about 2026.
Yeah.
Do we have any like releases down the pipeline? You just dropped Malibu a couple weeks back.
Yep.
What's it looking like for us?
100%. I don't have any dates yet for like now, but like as soon as Christmas is done, which I don't want it to be done because I'm a huge Christmas guy, but as soon as like Christmas is done, I have like 4 or 5 things lined up for right after Christmas. So it's going to be a really fun like winter through spring, leading into summertime. Like I'm planning on having an EP by this spring out. And so gonna probably have a couple more singles right after Christmas time come out, and then kind of put them all together into an EP for this spring. And yes, plenty of stuff that's in the works right now.
I'm excited. You know me. Anytime you go live, I always try to hop on. Like maybe he'll tease something new. Maybe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists, and feel free to share with us a little bit on why you chose these.
Yeah. So one song that I've been listening to like an insane amount of time was this last week is "Sitting Up in My Room" by Brandy, which is like just the melody, the vibe. She's just crazy with her runs and her harmonies and everything. So I've been listening to that song a ton this last week. And then another one, Miss Olivia Dean, is like literally up here right now. I love her so much. And so it's hard to pick off of her new album, but I'm gonna go with a couple minutes.
I was gonna
just 'cause,
say,
like,
I'm not gonna lie, when I think about that song, like you're associated with it.
yeah,
So
thank you.
you had to go
That's
that
an
route.
honor. That's an honor. That one just like when I listen to that, it actually like I start like levitating. I start floating off the ground when I hear that song.
Yeah.
And then one more. Let's think. I have to go with one of my boy Bieber's songs off of
Okay.
Swag 2, which is Witcha. Witcha has been like one of my favorite songs on all of his new stuff that he's been doing. It's just it's a cool, like, different sounding song. And I hope he continues to do some more stuff like that, because it just sounds like him. It sounds like his own sound. And I think the direction he's going in is really cool, and he's one of my biggest inspirations in terms of just melodies and vibe. And so I look forward to what else he has going in that way too.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty solid list you got right there. Brandy,
Thank
Olivia, and
you. Thank
Justin.
you.
Well, Jackson, thank you again so much for coming and chatting with me. Again,
Yeah,
love
thank
what
you.
you're doing. Please keep it up. And I hope everybody enjoys Malibu. This is Off the Record, a radio playlist where I help you discover new artists and new music. I'm excited because I'm here with an artist that I truly enjoy listening to. This is DeAngelo, Christian R&B artist. DeAngelo, how you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I'm really curious for you, this question of like who your musical influences were growing up, and not so much like the artists you were discovering, but like who was playing music for you and what were they playing? What were you listening to?
I would say number one had to be Toby Mac. Toby Mac was on
Really?
yeah, my house, Toby Mac. But I would say influences, even though that was being played all the time, I would say my biggest influences, there's this say gospel worship artist called Israel Houghton.
Okay.
He was also played heavy in my household, and he was a huge influence, I would say. Just how he worshipped and his runs and how he would write his songs. And then, of course, Justin Bieber. I would say Justin Bieber.
Really?
Yeah, it would
What's
be
your
all
go-to
three of those.
JB track? I gotta know the go-to JB track.
I was honestly, for a long time, for like a good 6 months, I would say this year was Flatline. For like 6
Really?
straight, I've just been rocking that. So
That's
it's
crazy.
got to
I
be
love
top
that.
5. I would say it's a top 5 JB song, but
Wow. Well, I'm really curious of what your journey to becoming an artist was and how you got into like Christian R&B specifically as a genre.
this is a cool question, because I can't answer this question without mentioning some amazing people in my life. And it's one of my best friends. His name is Gio. He was the one that basically, I knew him in college, and he knew me, and he knew I could sing. And around the time that I invited him to a worship
Wow.
meeting, and he was there, and he was like, "Bro, have you ever thought about making music?" And specifically at that time, I was like really dying to make music. And God did what God did, and he opened the doors in such a way where I just was able to come out with my first song with the help of Logue. He's also an amazing brother of mine, and he helped me come out with my first song. It was called Need Me, and it was just such a fun
Okay.
experience. And I was just like, oh, this is so amazing. And just slowly, I never like thought to myself, I'm gonna come out with Christian R&B. Even to this day, I'm not like Christian R&B, Christian R&B. I
Yeah.
just kind of write from a place that's just like whatever's going on in my life or past experiences. And because my faith is so dear to me, it's kind of just goes throughout my songs.
Yeah.
Not particularly like I gotta write about, God in every song. It just sometimes flows, so I just slowly, I came out with a single called More of You, and that was my first R&B track. And I was like, I really love this. I really love this. I just began to love like being in the studio, writing songs. And it was just such a great experience. I feel like more now in this year alone, I've gotten way more comfortable singing on a mic.
Yeah.
It's singing in a studio mic and a regular mic are two different feels. So
Yeah.
I necessarily didn't feel as comfortable as I am today. So I feel like the music that I have coming out and been coming out with is much more me, how I'm flowing. I still have a lot to learn, but like
Yeah.
I'm getting comfortable, you know, and it's been such an amazing experience, honestly.
I was gonna say, but what you're doing is working, you know.
Thank
And
you.
like going back to what you're saying, like you don't wake up and you're like, I like you were saying, I have to make Christian R&B. And I think that definitely does come across in your work, is like you're just writing about what is going on in the moment and what is coming through is like great.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your process right now as a writer like?
It depends. I usually, even if I'm writing like a love song, a heartbreak song, I came out with a heartbreak song earlier this year. Even if I'm not going through a heartbreak or feeling any sort of way, I usually write those things because I know other people and
Yeah.
and I've went through that. So I'm like, I gotta, reach those people. So usually I pray, no matter what the topic is. I pray.
Mhm.
Any demo that I come out with or write or anything I write, I usually pray. And then I usually have a beat that is pre-made. I right now I don't produce, so I either find the beat or one of my producers sends it, and I start brainstorming melodies. And that's
Okay.
usually how it goes. I just start brainstorming melodies, and then usually lyrics come and follow that, and I piece things together. And then usually sometimes I come up with the idea beforehand, but usually it's like midway. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling like the melodies speaking to me this way, and then I'll talk about that.
I love that. You released This Is Summer EP this summer.
Yes.
Are there plans for an album like down the line?
The goal right now is just to continue to build. So
Okay.
I know me and my team are thinking about coming out with another EP. And there hasn't been any talks with an album yet. I think we're waiting for a special moment for that.
Yeah.
But super excited for the EP, the next EP. I think I have one of my favorite songs I've ever made. I think
That's some bold words right there.
it's some bold words, and I'm super excited for it. There's just this song that I really love, and it's super fun. And yeah, I just can't wait for it to come out.
That's awesome. I'm super excited for that. All right, well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists you want to share with us. So feel free to elaborate a little bit on why you chose these.
Okay, I'm gonna say my boy Braden Tabakian. He has a song.
Love, great.
He has a song called "Surrender" that just came out.
Just came out Friday.
Yeah, and seeing him work on that song, how much he just put his time and his effort in, and to create such an amazing song, I just love it. And he's like found his niche, and I'm just so happy for him. So love that song. I would say "What a God." I would say a worship song. I gotta put a worship song.
Yeah.
What a God. I think that's by SEU Worship.
Yeah.
An amazing song. You just have to listen to it. It does something. The spirits with that song. So I would say that. And third, my boy Gio just came out with a song called "God's Time," and I'm pretty yeah. Check out
And
that.
you guys just dropped your guys' track that you guys had together with refresh my brain here. Who else was on it?
It was with Love.
Yes.
Greater Love.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I had a feeling you were gonna plug some homies, so I'm
I
happy
had
you
to.
did.
You gotta put them on. They're amazing, and they've helped me so much. So any chance I get, I usually shout them out. So
I would be a fool not to ask what your go-to worship song is.
I would say right now. Okay, no. Let me rephrase that. I was gonna say "What a God," but that's just right now. But I would say since the moment it came out, I think top 3 worship songs, in my opinion.
Okay.
Most Beautiful / So in Love by Maverick City.
Yep.
It just to have that intimate time with God, that's just the best song. It's just, it hits me every time. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Anointed. And yeah, say that one.
Maverick City was my gateway into worship music. I got offered
Fantastic.
tickets to go see them in Omaha, Nebraska, the
Oh,
most random
wow.
place. Yeah. And I went with a friend, and Gyra is like, that's my like on loop.
Come on.
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, DeAngelo, thank you so much for coming, spending time with me. Again, like your career is one to look out for. What you're doing is super great. Please don't stop. Keep doing what you're doing the way you're doing it. We're loving it. And enjoy his most recent release, Here's Glory.